You've been described as an American fabric sculptor, dancer, and performance artist. Do you think that's right?
No.
Do you like to be categorized?
I'm an artist. Now you can decide what that may mean to you, but I'm just a visual artist. First performance piece, which is going to be choreographed by T. Lane, who's professor at Spelman, is sort of doing the introduction piece, which is really sort of getting the audience on board and sort of settled and ready for this sort of new performance piece called Initiates that I'm producing. Her piece is really this sort of up close and personal sort of encounter with the work, and how do we sort of create a movement piece with the audience as part of that sort of experience.
Sitting down and listening to Nick, he was explaining his vision for the Atlanta performance and the intent behind the work, and I was drawn in. It was appropriate for the time that we're in, the social climate that we're in right now. With his sound suits, they're so magical and they give such a global and cultural awareness. I was signing on right then and there.
7, 5, 7, 8, 1.
Gave her pretty much a lot of freedom. She had come to the studio in Chicago and we sort of talked a little bit there, showed her what some of these sort of costumes will be worn for the performance. But really, what I'm interested in is, as an artist, stepping outside of my work and allowing someone else to sort of bring a different point of view.
The wheels started turning, and obviously I wanted to do research. A lot of my work that I do is for the concert stage, and it's using postmodern and hip-hop vernacular fused to make this American dance. But I wanted to do my research on masquerades and parades and performances and public protest and public spaces and what that means and what that conjures up. So I took myself to Mardi Gras and was able to maneuver down Bourbon Street and see how you can adjust and make your cipher and see all of the Mardi Gras Indians or the people just in masquerades and hiding their identity, seeing how the audience would respond to that.
It's really about the performance, but then also about the people that are present. And how do we sort of create a performance of movement, sort of piece that really sort of allows the audience to be just as much a participant in the piece, but also allowing the choreographer to find a point of view that may be of interest to them.
Fusing all of that research into my own vernacular, my movement vernacular shifted, it changed, and I was able to create a work I feel that's very fitting to the explosive, the celebratory, the cleansing effect that Nick wanted. Yesterday we were able to do our first run with the sound suits, and it was intense. It was so intense, the dancers took the sound suits off after the 20-minute run, hung them nicely and left. They said goodbye and out. Usually we're like, oh my God, it was great, They were exhausted, they were sweaty. I think they were trying to process what happened to them physically. Probably emotionally or just logistically in the space and how they're going to be able to make the suits sing.
These costumes create a total different experience, from the movement quality to embodying what the costumes represent. For me, I'm the drum major. That's my character name, but on the inside, I'm the warrior that's leading the pack. to me, it brings a whole nother culture that Atlanta's been missing that adds to already the magic that's in Atlanta. I love the suits. It's a blessing to be able to wear them because in college I looked up to Nick Cave's during my art history classes, and now to be able to work with him, it's just like, it's amazing.
And people did their own research on Nick Cave, and they did their own research on some of the information that he was sharing, that Nick was sharing in his promo videos that Influx did. So they came into the audition ready to get the art done.
I'm still trying to see how the choreographer can visually see 750 people while making up all this different choreography, while making up choreography that once again fits to the suit, each individual person.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I think when I think about ceremonies, you have a skeleton, you have the outline of how things should go, but you never know what happens in the space and how it shakes things up, stirs things up. So that's the part of the excitement.
We've got 750 people per performance. You know, based on the space down there, that's going to be a lot to navigate, but we can do it.
So you really have to be in tune with thyself as well as your dancers around you, as well as the clients that might be there.
You know, there may be somebody that you may have an encounter with that may feel that they want to be part of the performance. So how do you deal with that interaction? There may be people that might pull back and give you that space. So it's going to just be this unfolding.
I think that's how you view art. There's different approaches, different portals that you can go in to view and to receive work. And I think with this experience, the viewers and the artists have to negotiate in real time together and how they're seeing each other.
They become your spectators, you start to have a relationship with them. You start to communicate together. So it really becomes about so many levels of interest and dialogue that you don't get when it's on a stage and the audience is at a distance. First and foremost, it's the object that I'm sort of presenting. And that has to stand alone first. So we don't have to really bring performance to any of this work. It could stand static as a sculpture, and that will demand and hold its own. Bringing movement to it just adds another dimension. So it's wonderful that there is this other element, you know, another way to contextualize the experience. This particular piece called Initiates that we're in right now is really about dissecting and then rebuilding and re-identifying one's sort of identity through this sort of practice of structure and mass and volume. So where we really are focused on really adorning the body, which is very different for me in the sense that most of the audience never sort of gets to see this process. It's a walking performance. It's a performance that's really about changing one's persona, and all of this is happening as you're seeing it. What I see when I look at this piece or any of these particular works is I see a shaman of sorts. I see this sort of being that moves through the world as this sort of amazing relic of sorts. And you know, it's made up of some found objects, some fabricated objects, and just again, just assembled in a way where it just becomes about this sort of aura. It's static right now, and you know, as the individuals are getting dressed, they're on stools. When they're on stools, they look like burial mounds when they're done. But the moment they rise, it becomes larger than life, and then you're just sort of like, again, are confronted with something that is unfamiliar. And yet there is a connection.
It is a ceremony, it is a rites of passage, it is a work that changes your perception of how you view the world, how you view people in the world, because it goes from this very explosive, loud moment to this piercingly quiet quietude of thought. And I think it's going to be extremely striking for Atlanta to see a work like this. So it's definitely going to leave an imprint.
With this, you know, Ponce City Market being a place that was abandoned at one point, and again, how, you know, this sort of renewance, this sort of renovation of really changing the face of something is really sort of how, you know, the new piece is sort of happening. It's, you know, there's a shell that is placed on a body, and then we're again rebuilding and sort of elevating a different sort of presence. So I think that that all sort of plays into this sort of shift in the dynamics of Ponce City Market as a structure.
So what's it been like working with Nick, especially this week?
You know, it is. You know, you have, I don't know why I'm gonna get emotional, but you get an idea of, you know, how icons move in the world and how focused or exact and purposeful they are in the world, and how you might get a feeling like, oh, well, they're unapproachable, or they're inaccessible. And Nick has been so gracious and kind, just as a human being, as an artist, as an icon. That has affected me, obviously. You know, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive and I have my control issues and I like things to be just like this. Nick has taught me and the other artists that it's, you know, I've made this, but this is yours. You have full range to experiment, to investigate and explore, and to relinquish that control, and to give so much trust without even really knowing, has been incredible.
And I think that's really, again, what this performance that we're presenting. It's not that, you know, we're wanting to say this is what this is. But how are you coming to the work? How are you sort of confronting what is now in front of you, and what are you sort of taking away from that? How's this moment empowering you?
I want to leave Atlanta with truly understanding and knowing that we are all a part of a renaissance. We're in a renaissance with the arts in Atlanta. So I want to leave them with a sense of pride and a cool factor and a sense of really seeing and understanding community and knowing that art brought that to happen. That would be lovely.
All right, let's do this, y'all.
Yes, go
on the
across.
first floor.
Go across. Go across. Go across.
Okay, go across.
I